Yeah, it should be working.
Fabulous. Oh, it's working now. I can see that. Welcome, everybody. So I'm Sue Howard. We're Head of Workforce Development at NHS Greater Manchester. And I'm really pleased to see so many people joining the call today. It's brilliant news. It's great that we've got so much interest in this. We're not going to keep you for the whole session, but we'll hopefully be able to give you some really helpful information. We've got a really good a Q&A session at the back end. So if you're able to stay on that, it's your opportunity to ask any questions there. Or if you prefer, you can pop them in the chat. If you don't want to put your hand up, that's absolutely fine. So is that all right presenting wise, Phil? Are you struggling with slides today? We're having technology issues at this end.
Yeah, I've got it on slideshow. I'm not sure if how you can see, but on mine it's on the slideshow. My Teams is a little bit up and down as well. So as I'm clicking, sometimes it's not responding, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it's not on slideshow for me.
Right.
If you come back out again, maybe share it. Yeah,
I will do. Yeah.
Teams is playing up this last week or so, isn't it? So welcome everybody again, and because I can see some new people joining, we're going to tell you a little bit about today. That's it. It's done it now. Thanks, Phil. So we're going to tell you a range of things in terms of what's happening at a system level, how you might want to become involved, what's the benefit of having T-levels. The first thing we want to do, because we've got so many people on the call, we're not going to do introductions, but we'd like you to pop in the chat who you are, where you're from, and if you which one of these numbers that most matches where you are with things. Are you already hosting T-level students? Are you interested? Are you just thinking about it? Are you making plans? And if you're not providing placement or unlikely to because you're another system type stakeholder, then please just put in your connection to this work. That'd be really helpful too. So thank you for that. Next slide, please. So we've given a bit of an indication about what kind of stuff we're going to be covering today. We're going to look at that bigger picture. And then we're going to zoom into a bit more detail about how you might want to dock in. Thanks, Phil. So to give you a bit of a sense of some of the GM-wide activity that's happening, Andy Burnham, our mayor, is really keen on technical career pathways, and his third term big ticket item is technical career pathways. There's a whole host of work that's happening in this space at the moment. And about a year or so ago, the Combined Authority approached us at NHS Greater Manchester to say, we want to do some work in this space. We want to do that with you. How do we dock into the system? This is for us as a GM system, it's really important sector. We employ 1 in 6 collectively of the working workforce in Greater Manchester. So we're a huge employer collectively. So we have a big voice in this, and we have built up a relationship with that team in the Combined Authority to sort of inform iteratively their work, which is brilliant. We have got a video that we're hopefully going to share with you just now that explains what that looks like, because you can do that much more efficiently than I can. It's just a 2.5-minute video. So if it lets us do it, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll just let Phil make that happen, hopefully. And don't forget to share sound as well, Phil. It's got a nice overlay on top of it. It's computer saying no.
It's thinking about it.
It's thinking. I'll keep talking in the meantime while you have a bit of a fiddle. It might be that it's playing up in terms of screen share today. We're having all sorts of issues. Also to kind of highlight to you that Gatsby Foundation, that you may not have heard of, but anyone that works in the education space, whether it be high school or further education or higher education, are well versed with Gatsby because they work to Gatsby benchmarks. So they're a really big player in the space of technical career pathways, and they also approached us and said, look, we really want to work with GM. How do we do that? And together we drew up a proposal to do some work which has allowed Phil and I to create a space to support the system to improve employer readiness and increase placement capacity. And two things that doesn't happen very often, this, but the two things have collided and combined. And so we're working in the round with the combined authority and the Gatsby, and the KPI for both pieces is the same, which is brilliant in year one. And that this is all around that T-level placement provision, because it's seen as one of the key barriers and key challenges in this space, because it's an increasing qualification, and they're just not enough placements. We as a system, as an industry, as a sector, are not providing enough placements to allow for that predicted growth. You still struggling with the video?
Struggling,
Phil?
yeah. I'm really sorry. Yeah, when I clicked on it,
no worries.
It's absolutely playing on my laptop, but I don't think anyone else can hear it. So
no,
I can hear it behind the screen.
I think mine is a bit of a problem with. Working. Shall I give it a go?
Please, if you wouldn't mind, Gemma. I was going to say we can always come back to it if not, and do some of the stuff first. Many apologies for the technical difficulties we're having today. Teams says no.
You'll just have to let me know if hopefully you can see the working.
That's great. Thank you. I can see it coming up. It's not playing yet, but if you play and maximal screen it, that would be brilliant. Let's hope the sound works as well. If not, there's captions. So that's okay.
It's not giving me the option to play the sound, but let's try it.
So you have to share that when you share the screen, Gemma?
Yeah, normally it pops up, but let me just play it and see if it works. Yeah.
Dominated.
Yeah.
I can hear something.
I think it's out your laptop that I can hear, Gemma, not through our Teams.
Shall I stop?
Yeah, go on, stop for a minute. While we sort this out, what we can do is just progress with the original slides, and I'll see if I can bring the video up and we can come back to it in a few minutes. So if one of you could just pop the slides back up and we'll just progress that forward. We will share that back with you because I think it's a really nice video that gives that a bit of context about what's happening across the whole space. So we're working across the whole of Greater Manchester, all parts of the sector, as we'll describe to you as this progresses. And we are focused on increasing placement provision and in creating employer readiness. So this year it might just be one or two placements, but then maybe next year there is a potential for expansion and also increasing into other speciality spaces. And with that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Phil and let him talk to you a little bit and give you a bit more of a sense of, for those that aren't as initiated in this, what is actually a T level. Thanks, Phil.
Okay, thanks, Sue, and apologies everyone for the technical difficulties here. Unfortunately, none of us have got digital T level, so we're all struggling with the IT today. But just to give you a bit of background and tell you what is a T level, I'm aware that on the course we've got plenty, a little bit more than others. You can see that already in the chat with the bit of information that you've given us. But T level is still a relatively new qualification, been around about 5 years now, and it was designed and developed by industry professionals as an alternative to A levels, apprenticeships, and other post-16 courses. So what young people do after finishing the GCSEs, the 2-year qualification, only for 16 to 19-year-olds, and are broadly equivalent to 3 A levels. Now, every T level includes an industry placement with an employer that lasts for a minimum of 315 hours. So that's about 10 weeks or about 45 days. And we'll touch a bit more on that later on, but that industry placement can be delivered in different ways. It can either be as a block, so it might be that the young person goes to the employer Monday to Thursday for a period of time, or sometimes, and the example I suppose is ourselves, we're looking at hosting our own placement, and we're going to invite the young person to come in every Monday and Wednesday for a bit of a longer period of time. And the reason behind that is it just works better for us and for the learner. We're operating a kind of a hybrid learning model, so we're not in the office every day. So rather than ask them to come in every day, which would be quite difficult with staffing, they'll come to us, as I say, every Monday and Wednesday when we've got people in the building that can supervise them, and that'll enable us to give them a kind of a really good industry placement experience. And the T levels prepare students for higher education, skilled employment, and apprenticeships. We had a really good report released early this year from Gatsby, and that looked at some of the destination data of T-level students. And what it showed was that about 60% of health T-level learners carried on to university. And And the vast majority of them went onto a course that was kind of linked to the T-level subject. So they remained within the health sector and the health field of education. So that was a really interesting statistic. Let's move on to the next slide. So a bit more about T-levels across Greater Manchester. So there are over 20 different subjects on offer now, and T-levels are delivered in all 9 of our further education colleges, plus several of our sixth form colleges as well. Now we focus a lot on health T-levels, and there are opportunities for young people to go into different occupational specialisms. So they'll learn that core content, and then during the course, they might decide which particular areas they want to specialise in. We've got examples of young people doing adult nursing pathway, midwifery, mental health, alongside with some of the therapy teams. What we're also keen to support, I know we often talk about the 350 different roles across health and social care. So we're also really keen to support some of the non-clinical placements and some of the other jobs which take place or an offer across health and social care, and some of the different routes into them occupations. So at the moment in GM, we've got other examples and other things taking place, and we've got placements within estates and facilities. We've got plenty of business admin placements taking place, and there's also things like legal and digital and finance. So some of them other teams which are really important parts of the health and social care workforce, we've got some of them hosting placements as well, which is really good to see. One of the big bits around our work and one of the key components is that we want to make sure that there's real breadth of learning opportunities for young people. So we've now got good examples of placements which are taking primary care. We've got loads of good work going on in secondary space there. We're really excited by some placements which are now taking place across the voluntary sector, which is really great to see. And also social care, where again, we're seeing more and more organisations speak to us about hosting placements. So what we're able to see now is that young people have really got a great choice and great opportunities to go in different placements across the full breadth of the sector. So what we're going to do now, before we move on to some of the benefits of hosting a T-level placement, if I stop sharing my slides, I think we've got Scarlett on the call. I think we've actually got 3 young learners. We're going to go to Scarlett first, if you hear Scarlett.
Yeah, I just managed to join.
Hi, I was just checking. Sorry, little panic
Yeah.
there. Scarlett couldn't join the teams. I'm here from her college. Yeah. Are you all right, Scarlett? You're on now.
Yeah, I am.
Great.
You're on now. Brilliant. You hear Scarlett. So what I'll do, if I hand over to Scarlett, and Scarlett's just going to talk a little bit about herself and her experience of the T-level. I think, Scarlett, you're from Trafford College. If you'd like to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your T-level and your placement.
Yeah, so I'm Scarlett, I'm 18. I'm on my second year of a health T-level that specialises in adult nursing, and I've only got 4 days of like my placement left overall. And in my class, we're separated between Trafford, General, and Wythenshawe. I'm in Trafford right now, and I've seen all 3 of my placement areas now. And with my class, it goes between like clinical areas and wards as well. So my original placement was outpatient, and then it was an orthopedics ward, and now it's like a rehab ward for people that have fallen and have like a fracture and things like that. But other people in my class have been on burns clinics, and they have had experience with cleaning wounds and stuff, and it's really interesting, and like it's given a lot of us like a look in a lot of different specialisms and speaking to a lot of different people, and like gives us the opportunity to consider jobs that we didn't really know was out there. I know that a lot of people in my class found, looking at breast cancer and stuff like that extremely interesting. And I found working in things like that really interesting. I think my last placement has been my favourite so far because I've been able to do an injection and stuff. And it's important to have things like this because sometimes I've been to placements or people in my class have, and they haven't had that education. They don't know what T-levels are or what we're able to do, so that makes it a bit harder settling in sometimes. But when we do settle in, it's like we do a lot of different things, and it gives us a lot of experience because I've been put with a lot of different professionals like doctors, surgeons, in different clinical areas, and I've been to lots of different clinics, like seen lots of different conditions and met lots of different people. And I think like my favorite part about the whole experience is like interacting with patients and seeing all of this. It's been like a great experience for a lot of people, and it's also good having, you know, people to know about it, because that opens more opportunities for us to go to different people, because now we're looking into like midwifery placements, because there's a lot of people that do my T level that want to go into midwifery, and it'd be great to, you know, have a taster of that before you go into the workforce. So you have like an idea, you get to know if there's apprenticeships available from T levels, whether unis will let us go in, because I'm kind of in a different area, because I'm going into psychology, but going on towards has made, you know, me think about clinical areas of psychology and things like that, and openings for that. And I've spoken to, you know, physiotherapy, the speech and language therapist, like things like that, which I found like so interesting. And like but in my class there's people that want to do paramedics, like dermatology, you know, they all want to do different things, and placement lets us like actually experience things, and even things that maybe we wouldn't consider going in, that maybe we thought that we would like, but then we find something else. So it's been like quite a different thing that we can all go and do, which has been quite enjoyable. Like obviously there's placements where it's a bit like, oh, didn't really enjoy that, but obviously if there's like more options for us, it will like be so beneficial for us to see all of the different things that are out there and help us gain experience. Because sometimes you go to uni and I've seen uni students that like it's their first day, whereas me, who's not even been to uni yet, I've had like 2 different placement experiences already, and like I've already seen a lot of these things. And I think it would be great for a lot more students like going into nursing or going into whatever to have had that experience beforehand, because it lets you like have a bit of leveling to know what you're going into, instead of just being like thrown into it, because it can be like quite overwhelming. But yeah.
Thanks for sharing your experiences, Charlotte. Scarlett, that's some lots of really valuable learning, obviously. There, would you? Can I ask a question? Would you
Yeah.
say that because it sounds like you've had a number of different opportunities and exposure to different roles, would you say that those experiences have changed your thinking around your future career pathways, or have you experienced that with the other, you know, other learners that are on your course?
Yeah, because obviously for me, like when I first joined, my pathway was like I didn't really, you know, want to do A levels. They seemed quite thingy, but I still knew that I wanted to do psychology. But I never considered, you know, the jobs within the NHS for that, because I was more looking like forensic, police force, that kind of area. Whereas now it's like I am looking into, you know, wards, but obviously there's a lot of things there which do stop T-level learners, which is completely understandable for things like that. But and you can speak to other things like psychologists that are on wards that come in and they speak to patients, and there's a lot of different things that even I've considered that maybe I wouldn't have thought about before, and different pathways. And like there's definitely for other students, like there's one girl in my class that had no idea what she wanted to do. She didn't really know. And then since going to placement, and since like going to workshops that we wouldn't have had without placement, she's very interested in breast cancer, or even people who are interested in pediatrics. Like we've been able to go to workshops for that, and it's given us a lot more information on how we can actually get there, instead of, you know, there's other routes that isn't just university that can help us be more physical and hands-on. So it's been quite useful for a lot of people in my class and me to kind of gain more knowledge, because I had no idea really how the NHS actually worked until I was, you know, on this T level, and I still don't know a lot, but it's been very like useful.
Brilliant. And do you know what? That chimes with a lot of the stuff that we've been trying to address, giving learners a greater opportunity to be exposed to. There are 350 professions in the health and care service. And when I went to a careers event at my daughter's high school before Christmas, they mentioned 5 jobs, and there were scores of them. There was dozens of young people that were really interested in getting into health and care, but they mentioned 5 jobs out of 350. And it's because they just don't get to see all of those opportunities. And so that's something we're really trying to champion. And obviously people, even if they don't choose that pathway, to have greater clarity about how the system works, because we all work with each other. It's one big machine, is so helpful from an integrated care perspective as well. So that definitely chimes with some of our thinking and our plans. So it's really helpful to hear that from, you know, a learner's experience as well. I'm sure there's a load of people on this call that have got questions for you, but we're going to make you wait a little bit longer because we've got some other students that are here to speak to us as well today. And if you're happy to stay on, Scarlett, we might just do a bit of a panel session and a bit of a Q&A at the end to, you know, have those conversations in the round, if that's okay. I'm going to try and play the video that wouldn't play before, and let's see if it'll let me work from where I am today. So just bear with me. Thanks, Scarlett, again.
Thank you.
Just reshare my screen. Just bear with me.
Education in England has been dominated by the university route, and that poses risk to growth in our economy. Greater Manchester's dynamic economy is changing fast, and we now need an education system that can keep pace and meet its needs. Currently, young people aged 14 to 18 have two paths for the future. One route is from school to university. The other is from school to technical education and the world of work. For those going to university, the path is obvious. But for those who want a technical education, it's not so clear. We want all our young people to have clear and equal pathways. So we need to stop the confusion about how to get a technical education. With our new Trailblazer Devolution deal, we want to be bold and ambitious, creating a clear path for young people who want an alternative to the university route. That means we will have two clear and equal paths, one for university and another that provides a clear line of sight to high-quality jobs in Greater Manchester's growing economy. So alongside the English Baccalaureate, or EBAC, we're creating an equally prestigious educational route, the Greater Manchester Baccalaureate, or MBAC. It will guide Year 9 students to the subjects employers value most. At 14, young people will be able to choose from 7 MBAC gateways, with qualifications geared to the sectors that are growing in Greater Manchester. All MBAC students will have access to quality work placements. And the MBAC gateways will include clear routes into our B network and emergency services. At 16, MBAC students will have access to more T-level courses than ever before, as well as other technical qualifications. And a new central application system will, for the first time, open up work placements with our most prestigious employers to young people across Greater Manchester, giving all young people equal access to game-changing opportunities. Then at 18, MBAC students will have access to prestigious work-related courses, from intermediate and degree apprenticeships to higher technical qualifications. Our MBAC will help more young people to fulfill their potential. By building it together, we can give everyone growing up in Greater Manchester a clear line of sight to opportunities, helping us achieve our shared goal of good lives for all.
Hopefully that worked all right for you. So hopefully that worked all right for everybody, and they could hear and get that a bit of scene setting actually about what's happening across GM, which I think is helpful context to understand, because you'll be hearing a lot more about the MBAC and technical career pathways from across GM, from other spaces. I'm going to hand back over now to Phil, if he can make his slides work okay, and let him pick up from here and talk about T-levels specifically.
Okay, cheers, Sue. I'll try my slides again. I believe they weren't moving on before. They are at my end, but we're having a bit of a nightmare with Teams today. Hopefully people can see my screen.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure
working,
people can
Phil.
see that one, which is
Right,
right, brilliant. So that's
on
one of the
well.
benefits of offering an industry. Right, great. So touch wood, it'll stay like that for the rest of the session. But some of the benefits of offering an industry placement, we're really keen that people can see these benefits and start thinking about how they can host an industry placement. That's not a comprehensive list, but some of the real, I think, advantages of having a young person, we've heard from Scarlett already, but these are really capable and motivated young people that can contribute to the workforce. It's a way to fill skill gaps now and in the future. It can give you a fresh perspective. It's young people full of enthusiasm and new ideas. You can help build a more diverse workforce. Good for your reputation and a chance for you to build relationships with local colleges, local people. It's also a chance for staff to develop supervisory and mentoring skills. So some of your existing staff that might want to work with the young person who's coming on the placement, a real chance for them to develop in their career. Certainly there's extra capacity in your team for day-to-day work as young people come and they contribute to some of the work that you're already doing. And it's also sometimes a chance for you to test maybe future potential apprentices and potential employees. We're seeing already really, really great things from a lot of the learners across Greater Manchester. And I was speaking to some employers in the last couple of weeks that have had young people there on a placement, and they've already added them to their bank staff. And now the learners are coming back in some of their kind of college holidays and getting some paid work and becoming part of the wider workforce. So lots of advantages in offering an industry placement, lots of reasons why we think you should consider it. Hopefully that slide's moved on. Hopefully we're working now, but this one is just a little bit of myth busting. Again, there's lots of information out there on T-levels, but there's also, I think, some existing myths and some misconceptions around exactly what can and can't be done. So we had a few bullet points and a few myths that we'd like to bust today and this afternoon. So students are able to complete up to 20% of their placement hours remotely. On the digital T-level, it's actually more than that's 50%, but in the most part, it's up to 20%. We're having conversations and we're exploring what that might look like and whether there's some virtual learning or exactly how that can be utilised, but it's there as an option. One of the big ones and one of the conversations that we have regularly is around under 18s. So I said earlier on at T-levels of a 16 to 19-year-olds, generally the main part of the placement takes place in the second year of the placement. But that means that some of them are still 17 and they tend to turn 18 during that academic year. There is usually no legal reason why students under 18 cannot participate in clinical placements. It's a bit of an old standing misconception. It's kind of something I think that people have said. When we've looked into it and kind of other people more wider than ourselves and across the country, there's usually no legislation around it. And there's plenty of guidance and support available now around supporting students of this age. So there's been lots of work that's gone on in this area. We've now got plenty of evidence and plenty of examples that we can share with you, or we can speak to other members of your organisation to demonstrate how and why these students can go onto these placements. So we've got that taking place in things like midwifery and across a range of things which in the past people have maybe said may not be suitable for students of that age. Another one there is around placements can be split across 2 employers. So we kind of call that rotational placements. Again, lots of benefits around that. Firstly, the young person is getting quite a broad learning experience. They're perhaps getting the chance to work for 2 different organisations, which can help them crystallise their future career plans. What we also think with that is that even if they do maybe a placement in an area that they might not want to work in the future, but give them a better understanding of the challenges and of what it means to work in that area. So they can really gain in the learning with that split. What it can also do is for people that maybe are looking at that 315 hours and thinking, we'd like to host a placement, but we're not sure we've got enough work to keep a young person occupied for that time. It allows you to maybe reduce the burden slightly. And it doesn't always have to be a 50-50 split. It can be kind of whatever breakdown you decide. But if you said to us that, for example, we'd love to host a placement, but we think we've only got 6 or 7 weeks worth of work, we've only got 5 weeks worth of work, we can try and support that and try and match you up with another employer and give that young person the experience of working across 2 different organisations. The other advantage, and something that we're looking at going forward, we've recently sent out some data requests to the colleges. So in the next few weeks, we're going to find out what their projected plans and projected numbers are for the next academic year. We're not expecting a massive increase, but I do think that certainly based on conversations we've had that there are sort of more than one college who are intending on upping their numbers of health T-level learners. Sometimes if we can split the placements, we're also able to increase capacity. So if an organisation is only going to host a placement for perhaps 5 weeks rather than the 10, it might well mean that they're able to take more learners on board, which, as I say, can see an increase in capacity. A couple of other bits we mentioned before about the destination data for T-level learners. The qualifications are recognised by the government and by employers, and well over 150 universities. So they're really becoming recognised as a real top quality qualification and producing some really talented young people. It can be a cost-effective way to bring in fresh talent and reduce recruitment expenses in the long run. So it's something else we're looking at longer term and looking at some of that cost-benefit analysis. Already we're seeing that there can be a cost-effective way. As I say, these are really capable young people, and even though they can be sometimes, I suppose, an initial bit of extra work, there's plenty of rewards in the long run. And finally, at the bottom there, students are not required to be paid, although some employers may choose to do so. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing there again. And I think we've got Temi on the call. And I was going to ask Temi if you can just say a few words about yourself and about your T-level.
Hello, my name is Oladoyin Ojo, but people know me as Temi. I'm a year 2 student studying T-level health, supporting the adult nursing team. I'm 18 years old and I attend Berry College. I did my placement in Fairfield General Hospital on the orthopedic ward. So I decided to do a T-level course because of its unique combination of academic learning and its hands-on placement, because I'm a type of person that I like more of practical work, not sitting down in class and like teachers teaching book. I like more of like go on experience, like that kind of stuff. And doing a T-level course also offers more opportunities for someone to enter into the healthcare system. So my placements went on for 10 weeks. And I won't lie, it was like the longest 10 weeks of my life. But it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it. I got to meet different types of people in the healthcare system, and I got to know what they do and what their role is about and all that. Being in the hospital also helped me develop skills like communication, teamwork. My confidence level went up also, and I loved supporting patients. I really got to know more about patients, how to help them. Like that was what drew me into like being a healthcare worker. Like I just loved supporting them and helping them, also offering them emotional and physical support. That made me sure of like what I wanted to do in life. Like I was so sure, like, yes, I want to be a pediatric nurse later on in life. And doing that T-level course gave me more opportunities. Like it gave me an insight of what being a nurse is like, because some people they always say like, oh, I wish I had the opportunity you have, because you get to see all this happening and like you get to decide, oh, do I actually want to do this and all that. But I saw it myself and I was like, yes, I want to do this course. And just doing a T-level course gives people a lot of opportunities to do that. And yeah, that's all.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Temi. Really, really interesting as well. And it's great to hear that, you said it at one point, it was one of the longest experience of your life, but overall, it sounds like it's been a really good experience. Can I ask you something? What made you decide to do a T-level in the first place? Was it something that you'd always wanted to do, or
no,
something that the school suggested?
No, I wanted to do A levels. I never knew of T levels in the first place, but then when I got to college and like on open days, and then I was like, oh, I want to become a nurse. And then the staff was like, oh, have you heard of T level? And she told me more about it and how like we get to go into the hospital for 10 weeks. And I was like, oh, that could be fun, like interesting. Like I don't have to sit down in the class all the time. I get to go out, like, I was like, this is interesting. And yeah, I wanted to do, so I signed up and I found myself doing it. And I would say I don't regret doing it at all, because sometimes I brag like, guys, I'm doing T-level, like I get to go to the hospital and all that, and I'm like, oh really, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Brilliant. That's great. I think you're going to stay around as well, Temi. Like I say, hopefully if we've got time, I know people might have a couple of questions. I've just got a couple more slides I'm going to race through dead quick, and then we're going to hear from Lexi as well, who's our third learner. So again, hopefully the slides will come back up. Try and resume. Pretty much, hopefully people can see this. It's pretty much the last bit from me. So in terms, hopefully people have listened today and you've heard from the learners, and it might have made a few of you think about hosting T-level placements if you're not already doing so.
It's not moved on, Phil, again.
So
the
this
slides
is
are playing up.
Is it not moved
No.
on? Right. Well, I might have to stop sharing and I'll try again. Sorry, everyone. We're having a nightmare with Teams, aren't we? If it doesn't load up, I can talk you through it dead quickly. We can share the slides afterwards, but I'll give it one more go. Have they came back up now, Sue?
We're on useful links now, yeah.
Have they gone back to the one before it? No?
Yeah, it's
We're
gone on
stuck on
the arrow slide.
Right,
Yeah.
brilliant. Right, so I think we're where we want to be. So, as I said before, people are interested in hosting a placement. Me and Sue are more than happy to have conversations outside of this meeting, and we can talk to you and we can put you in touch with colleges and the right people. We can try and share, it says there, some of the case studies and positive examples that we've got from Greater Manchester, from across the country. But usually, I think the procedure would be that if we go from left to right, you decide to host a T-level placement. Have a think about what subject works for you. Is it the health T-level? Is it one of the other ones that we mentioned? Have a think about the number of learners that you're able to take, and then also the structure and in terms of what works for yourselves as an organisation, as a team, and also for the learner. Is it going to be that block placement? Is it going to be a couple of days a week? Is it going to be a full 10-week model, or is it going to be a rotational model? So have a think about some of them areas. Normally, the next steps would be to kind of speaking with the college. You can do that via ourselves, or you can, I know the GMCA have a kind of a pledge mechanism where you can put something on the website and the college will get in touch. But again, we can speak to you around this. And then we'd identify the learner. Again, it's up to you as to whether you want to do some type of recruitment and maybe do some shortlist and interviewing, or whether you want to listen to a college's recommendation. Try and agree what the objectives are of the placement and the learning goals. Moving forward, then looking at some of the logistics before the placement starts. So things like the IT equipment that the learner might need. Are they going to require any immunisation before they start the placement? Do they need an email address setting up? Sometimes all these things take time. So again, just some of the preparation stage and making sure that we're able to hit the ground running when that young person starts. When it comes to the placement, what we would normally say is to treat them like you would any other employer starting at an organisation. So that means going through an induction. It might be that they need to do some mandatory training, and then looking at the type of work that they're going to be doing across the placement. So making sure that the projects that you give them are going to support them achieving their learning goals. And then going forward, always encouraging kind of regular meetings around the student progress. That might be with the college, and looking to contribute towards the student's final review meeting. So obviously the processes are slightly different for different organisations, but that's some of the essentials that I think we'd recommend. As I said before, we're there, I think, to try and support you along some of these stages, and to try and make sure that it is a positive experience for yourselves and most importantly for the learners as well. Hopefully it's moved on to this slide. I won't go through these, but these are just some of the useful links. Like I said, there's loads and loads of stuff out there online. What we try and do is try and almost keep it a little bit of a record of what we think is particularly useful so that we can share. I know there's also a few bits that have been posted in the chat, which are some great resources as well. So there's loads of information out there. I think we're in quite a good position now to probably help and advise and point people in the right directions for a lot of the potential questions that might come up. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to stop sharing, conscious of time as well. And we want to hear from Lexi, who's also on the call, who's our third T-level learner. So I'm going to hand you over to Lexi. Again, if you'd like to introduce yourself and just say a few words about your T-level. Cheers, Lexi.
So I'm Lexi. I'm a first year T-level student at Wigan and Lee, and I had my placements across 2 terms, and it was a Monday and Tuesday I'd spend out on placement. So I'd go there twice a week. So I experienced 2 different types of placements. So my first one was at Lee Infirmary, and it was an outpatients department. So it was different clinics each day looking at like orthopedic, there was speech and language therapists, there was pre-ops being done, so you could kind of see how things were done before surgeries. And that was interesting looking at that perspective of things. And then my second placement was at Wigan Hospital, and I was based on the planned investigations unit. So it was looking at blood transfusions, different IV drips. And it was interesting to see because you don't realise the importance of different things within the body. So he was able to talk to patients that some of them come in every week for blood transfusions, some come in every 6 months, and it's looking at different areas of health conditions that can affect everybody. And it was really interesting to look at that for my first year. And I know that next year we're going to be on more like ward-based placements. So being in like more like high pressure situations, I guess. But then some people in my class were able to be in theatres. So they were like shadowing ODPs. And I know before T level, I didn't even know what an ODP was. I didn't know the different job roles that like they do. So we had a lot of training within my placement about different job roles. So we heard a lot from physios, occupational therapists, ODPs, and speech and language therapists. And that's something I'm really interested in now that I didn't know was even a thing before doing T level. I thought I wanted to be a children's nurse, but it's opened my eyes to a range of different job opportunities. And I'm looking now more into speech and language therapy and how it links. And I've been in situations where I've seen how it links to stroke patients, and it's just opened my eyes to a different world of healthcare jobs. So, yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant as well, Lexi. And it's great to hear how the T levels influence some of your career choices, and it's made you think differently and you might stay within this sector. I'm conscious of time. I think we're going to stop recording now. I think if we can perhaps maybe, I know some people might have to leave, but perhaps stay on just for the next 4 to 5 minutes in case people have any questions. Firstly, I just wanted to say a big